familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Hello. This is once again Malte, better known as AlephYa2. I'm coming at you with my Reasoning Gate Turbo with a dark take that won me the recent Patreon tournament. What you probably see at first is that I'm running very little monsters. Only one Strike Ninja, which might be a bit counterintuitive at first, and therefore I'm also running one reinforcement, so you can basically say 2 Strike Ninjas. And I'm also running one Soul Release, which acts in a similar fashion like a Chaos Sorcerer or BLS in the regular Light and Dark Reasoning Gate deck. I initially tried to play 2 strikes and 2 reinforcements, but I sometimes ended up in situations where Reasoning or Gate got me a Strike Ninja on the field where it didn't really do much, or where the second copy came up in combination with the first or similar way. And also, when playing such a deck, if you play Reasoning, most opponents will say level 4 or 8. And by only playing one Strike Ninja, you basically manipulate the Reasoning odds in your favor, I'd say. So that's why I tested this build, and I found it to be sufficient enough because for shifting purposes, because often enough my opponent banishes some monsters, or when I have Dark Magician of Chaos on the field, he will get banished almost anyway, and even only getting Demog back with damage infusion is often a game-winning loop in itself, so was enough for me, as you can say. Then the other monsters, Demog self-explanatory, Jinzo of course too, then Blowback Dragon, it's a bit tricky because he's the second level 6 monster, so if my opponent would know the deck list, calling level 6 on Reasoning would give them a 40% chance to hit in a neutral deck situation, but he's still pretty decent, I'd say. The option of removing a spell, a trap or monster has often helped me, and most of the time the opponent won't be able to really answer him in the first turn, so often you get to use this effect more times. So it's a card that one should really try out to see that it's better in theory than better on paper than in theory. Better in practice than on paper. That's what I meant. Yeah, and obviously the most stylish card is Magical Marionette. I really like it. I tried it out in the usual Reasoning Gate builds too. Level 5 is something that most opponents don't call, and his effect is in such a deck, as you can see, I'm running almost 30 spell cards, so it's really not that hard to get his effect off. What's also pretty nice is that his effect can be used multiple times a turn if you pull it off. Also, if you pass with him, and also the opponent's spell cards count towards his effect. So if he can't answer the card but plays a Pot of Greed or similar, that adds up to becoming a problem for the opponent. What I once tried to run with Marionette is playing Toon Index in the same deck, like maybe with Toon Summon Skull or Toon Cannon Soldier, because one Toon Index activation, better 3, equals to 1.5 monsters killed already. But that was a further inconsistency in the deck, so I cut that out. Then signature card from my brother and I, the Rare Metal Dragon. Always a funny card, gets skipped by Reasoning, skipped by Monster Gate, and obviously you can banish it later with Strike Ninja or Soul Release from the graveyard. And but you can bring him back with Dimension Fusion, or sometimes even call out Premature from the grave. So pretty neat card. Obviously the most death draw that's possible, but to work against it a bit, I'm playing 5 cards that can discard from the hand in Grace. Vortex, Tribute to the Doomed, and the 2 Raigeki Breaks. Raigeki Break is a card I really like in such decks. Has the possibility to remove a key spell or trap card from the opponent to go off, sometimes take out their monster, sometimes something like Kaiku that prevents you from banishing, sometimes gets rid of a face down monster so that you can swing with your monsters without any problems, fixes your graveyard situation too. It's just a very versatile card. The Dust is something I threw in last minute basically. Worked decently, I'd say. I don't like playing too many giant Truenates in the main, because obviously if you want to go off Trunate it's much better, but if you don't manage to finish the opponent or get very close to it, he will just set his whole back row. Once again you made -1, and yeah, now you have to think about how to finish once more. So I would always play 1, but I really don't like maining more than 1 in those decks. Has never really felt that great for me. Then 3 Scapegoats are absolutely mandatory, I'd say. Scapegoat, an end phase Scapegoat, or block the attack Scapegoat into Monster Gate is really good. That's what makes this deck possible. The opportunity to cheat strong tribute monsters on the field directly from your deck is very great. Then bit up to discussion, surely the Metamorphosis. They work obviously also super good with Scapegoat. Buys you a lot of time with 1000 Eyes, goes for a little chip damage, removes some monsters, and also sometimes you can Metamorphosis one of your dark monsters to get to the second in the grave, or one more to shift with Soul Release or some play like that. Metamorphosis on Demok is obviously also cool move if you have a dimension in hand, like getting Gatling Dragon on the field, nuke their monsters and then bring back Demok is, yeah, almost always game winning. So there's lots of neat tricks that one can do with this deck. I have to say, to be honest, I think it's a bit worse than the usual Reasoning Gate build with lights and darks, because the Sacred Cranes, the extra draw on those really helps with consistency. And obviously, like something like BLS is very strong card in itself that those cards in this deck don't really have. But also this one has a bit more other funny plays. You don't always need like light and dark in the grave. You need any 2 monsters from this deck in the grave to shift them with strike. So there's a little bit of consistency in that too. And yeah. Looking at the side deck, something I often did is switching the blowback with the Fossila Dragon, because now you play 1 level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 monster in the deck. That's almost guaranteed reasoning proof. 20% hitting chance for the opponent, no matter what he calls. That's quite good for you. And Metamorphosis with Fossila is obviously also nice, because you can summon Last Warrior sometimes, and King Dragoon is obviously also an option against trap heavy decks such as Warrior, so they really get into trouble with that. The Book of Moons are some kind of, yeah, I'd say anti-card against goat control to turn off their 1000 Eyes for 1 turn to run over, or to get a Kaiku or Jaugen turned off for 1 turn to still perform. It's a card I really like. I used to play it in the main deck even, and I think it's possible to main it, but you don't have to. The giant Trunates, there's two other ones that I don't main against. Yeah, you could also play them against Warrior and such, but in that situations I mainly board in the 3 decrease. Take out Dust and Regeki Break. Sometimes leave even 1 break in, just to have a few traps. I don't mind playing 1 or sometimes 2 traps with 3 decrease. That's still okay-ish, even though it's a bit risky, to be fair. And what I also do when I take in decrease, I absolutely board in the Book of Moons too, just so that I have some kind of back row answers still, in addition to my goats, of course. Because otherwise I would be playing completely defenseless, and I don't really like that. As you can tell, my deck approaches are not the all-in OTK ideas. It's just pressuring over multiple turns with some cheated out strong monsters and winning by that. I am not sure if I even OTK'd 1 single game in the whole tournament, to be honest. At least 1, at maximum 1 or 2, but most of the time I don't. I think you don't really have to try to go all in with those decks at all cost. I'd say my results also prove that I'm not completely on the wrong side of ideas. Yeah, the Smashing Ground is a sort of anti-card. Yeah, that's up for debate, surely. And Spell Canceller is, yeah, and something like mirror matches are similar. I'd also, when I start, at least, I'd board him in. And of course, most opponents wouldn't say 5 on reasoning, and if he hits the field with you having 1 more strong monster or so, would be basically game over at that point. Yes, once again, thanks for listening to my ideas, thoughts. And of course, thank you to Jinzo and Tonic for providing me this platform to share my thoughts. And yeah, hope to do that in the near future once more, of course.